Hi everyone, welcome to week 7 of our environmental management course. My name is Sonny and I'm currently working as a bushfire management technician in southeast Queensland, and this week we'll be exploring Indigenous approaches to environmental management. First, I wish to respectfully acknowledge the 9 clans that represent the Ugamba peoples and their elders both past and present, who are the traditional owners and custodians of the country on which I stand today and the Kuku Yalanji in which we will discuss. For my presentation, I will be describing and analysing the Eastern Kuku-Yalanji Indigenous Protected Area case study within the wet tropics region of far north Queensland, and answering the question of what critical factors have led to the success of its management. Prior to British colonisation, the Australian continent was solely inhabited by Indigenous peoples that represented approximately 500 clans of Aborigines and Torres Strait Islanders for over 50,000 years. Their distinctive culture, beliefs and social structures continue to give special meaning and connection to country today. Passed down over countless generations, knowledge is the basis of which their cultural customs derive, and their dreaming guides their intrinsic relationship with their sense of place and provides rules for how to care for country, further developed through observation and experience over thousands of years. This Indigenous ecological knowledge is the very fabric of their continued existence that affects how they utilise and value the environment with regards to resources, flora and fauna, shelter and weather patterns. Their understanding and strategies evolve over time to the ever-changing conditions of the world. In 2007, the Australian government honoured native title to 70,000 hectares of traditional lands for 5 unique country and established the Eastern Kuku-Yalanji Indigenous Protected Area. There is a complex mosaic of land use within this area, including national parks, private landholders, reserves, and the Wet Tropics World Heritage Area. Dedicated under IUCN guidelines, this protected area aims to combine contemporary and traditional knowledge with the framework of promoting a balance between ecological conservation and sustainable resource management. The Wet Tropics Management Authority is the regional governing body aimed to cooperatively coordinate Kuku-Yalanji lands through a regional agreement to incorporate cultural knowledge into land management practices in accordance to national and international obligations. The Management Authority intends to increase social connectivity through engagement of all stakeholders involved through an annual forum and workshop to drive innovative environmental stewardship based upon the traditional principles from the Indigenous Advisory Committee. Numerous governmental departments such as the Department of Environment and Science and Queensland Parks and Wildlife Services have prioritised the involvement of Indigenous knowledge through the Care for Country initiatives, part of the Queensland Protected Area Strategy 2020 to 2030. Through such a partnership, government support through the Indigenous Land and Sea Ranger Program, Junior Ranger Program and various grant opportunities aim to provide socio-economic benefits and employment to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders. Following the native title agreement, the Yabulbina Yalanji Aboriginal Corporation was formed to facilitate governance by its stakeholders under direction of Eastern Kuku Yalanji elders and traditional owners, alongside numerous beneficial partnerships. Exposure to external sources of information, expertise and resources sparked the inception of the Yabulbina Yalanji Ranger program that takes ownership and responsibility of fire and feral animal management, track maintenance, cultural protection and community events to help promote engagement. Many regions of the wet tropics have lacked recent history of cultural fire burns due to issues with land entitlements and a lack of resources, with some research stating that within the eastern Kuku-Yalanji lands an extensive build-up of fuel have caused the burns to be very hot and areas inaccessible. Indigenous-driven decision-making and planning with respective governing bodies has been improving the health of country and supporting effective ecosystem management. From conducting consistent cooler burns to reopen country has subsequently provided cultural tourism opportunities within the Douglas Shire Council. To promote engagement within the Kuku Yalanji Indigenous Protected Area, training and development programs for the rangers and numerous landholders that represent the land use mosaic have endorsed a collaborative effort to preserve traditional land management and cultural heritage. The benefits from incorporating Indigenous knowledge in environmental management are wide-ranging, from ecological, health and well-being, cultural, socio-economic to political gains, both for Indigenous people and the wider Australian society. More effort to ascertain a middle ground of differing interests and values of stakeholders, coupled with sustainable sources of funding and the incorporation of the Kuku Yalanji's intrinsic connection with country into governance, will yield future positive outcomes. Indigenous knowledge regarded as an invaluable source of information will extend the innovative land and sea management services that harnesses cultural awareness and in turn builds the resilience of the eastern Kuku Yalanji. Thanks for listening, and I hope you gained insight of an Indigenous knowledge approach to environmental management.